Maybe I just get to it straight away. Right now, there is no status on Dybala, so Mourinho is not so happy. I think his reaction says a lot, where he says that he doesn't think Dybala will be playing for the rest of 2022 for Roma colors. So that is a bit of a concern right now. I didn't like the way that he went off. Very frightened by that. Of course, Roma's undisputed best attacking player of this campaign. My name is Wayne Gerard. Guys, thanks for joining in. Um, it's very weird to feel like this because you get a 2-1 win at home. You got the context of it. It feels a little bit strange, right? Thanks, guys, for joining in. Tooth is all right. I got a big hole in my mouth right now, but it's starting to feel a lot better. Thanks, Marco. So let's get to it, I think. So we can see on the bottom here, Cremonese gives up to Napoli, who runs up 4 on them. Inter bites back against Sassuolo. That was actually a pretty good game to watch. Milan fleeces Juventus at the San Siro. That was a heck of a goal, past Bonucci for Brahim Diaz. Udinese Atalanta, that was supposed to be a really good one. I'm looking forward to watching that one, or at least the extended highlights. Sotil and Gasparini all out in that one. That was sure to be some heck of a watch. Monza gets back to a win with a 2-0 over Spezia. And Monday, tomorrow, Fiorentina hosts Lazio. Right now, Roma has jumped over Lazio to take over 5th spot. And let's open up this game, guys. 3-4-1-2. Rui Patricio, Mancini, Smalling, Ibanez. Then it was in the middle. You actually see Pellegrini with Cristante. And I was happy to see Pellegrini drop a little bit further back. And then you get Dybala, Belotti, and Zaniolo up there. Tough one for Zaniolo, I have to say again. But going into it, the back line seemed out of necessity. You see Vigna slot in, Zalewski on the right. I'll say it just ahead of time. Thought he played a great game. But Pellegrini, Cristante is the midfield that I've been missing in terms of not having Wijnaldum. This is the coppia, as you could say in Italian, that I like them. I like them together. And I expected a little bit more, I think, as far as tactically, but that will take a little bit more time for them to iron them out. I saw Pellegrini playing a bit higher at times. And then Pellegrini gets a beautiful assist to Smalling, to Smaldini, who opens it up. And right now, Smalling actually has 3 goals. Let's pop up the goal leaders here. We got there on the bottom. Dybala 7, Smalling 3, Abraham 2. So we've got our center forward and Chris Smalling there doing a heck of a job. In the second half, Tammy entered alongside Belotti, taking out Zaniolo, and Spinazzola came in for Vigna. Tammy was awarded a penalty less than 60 seconds after coming in. Dybala converts it, and then he limps off. It's just like, when it really rains, it pours, as a Romanista. Some other stuff there, though. First time Dybala has scored 3 matches in a row since mid-2020, and he's now scored against Lecce in the past 3 matches. Following that, about 10 minutes later, Zalewski is denied a one-on-one after a give-and-go with Abraham. The good stuff from this match, I will just say, Zalewski on the flank. I really liked him from the right, slotting those balls in. He's got a hell of a cross. Dybala, of course. Tammy's spirit, once he comes on, professional. Like, he was really, really trying hard. His pace is really difficult for defenders to cope with. And then Pellegrini playing a bit reserved, or let's say, in that midfield pivot again. I thought he did a good job, more or less. But I still think that his positioning as this kind of like libero player it needs work. Let's put it that way. Smalling, incredible match. And Ibanez, again, a bit more quiet than we've seen him this season, but really composed. I thought continues to show his growth that he's shown since round 1 of the Serie A season. The bad guys, between the lines, I thought that Roma was missing a true trequartista, somebody in between that. And Mourinho references that today with the Smalling of Veretout, with the departure of Veretout and Mkhitaryan, the Smalling. Bad. Also, controlling the match while being up a player around 75% of the match. Like, could not truly control this match. Did not limit Lecce as much as I thought they could. But I will say that the great chances for Lecce were few and far between. Not really much at all besides their goal, which was just such an ugly one. And on top of that, it was an ugly match. I saw somebody on Twitter mention that it's an ugly game and an ugly match. I think that was Tim. He pops in here now and then. And the passes into the attacking third, not great. So at this time, I'm going to jump into some comments here. And we take 3 points. Yes, 3 points. And like I said, Roma moves up to fifth, and they keep on the pace. There's only a difference of 4 points right now between first place Napoli and fifth place Roma. So it's still so tight. And that sentiment is being echoed here by Mourinho. You take 3 points and run. And I do think that Roma has had better showings. I don't want to say that everything has just been erased. It was just a complicated affair today. Android meme says, what do we do? Dybala out till 2023. Can Roma cope? It's going to take someone with serious guts, Android, to come up and fill in that gap. Roma's best player just went down, probably for, like, as Mourinho said, the rest until 2023. Who fills that void? Does Zaniolo now start to drop a little bit more? To me, that's what I think should happen. Instead of Zaniolo playing off the break and as this loose winger who continues to surge and try to get the goal, which isn't happening, I prefer him much more from like the last season type Zaniolo, the guy who gets the ball and takes it from the midfield line, more or less, and then drives through the attack, and let him work on his passes into the final third. But I think that Zaniolo should be the player that should switch from being a left winger right now into this hybrid right winger who drops back and then takes it from the flank and drives through the center of the pitch. I really think that's what he can benefit right now from Dybala's absence. And I didn't plan to mention that, but just something I'm thinking. We've won, but at what cost? Sammy's in here. He says, even as a Roma fan, Dybala injury is more disappointing for me because he might miss the World Cup than missing Serie A matches. I really hope not, because I think that Argentina can win the World Cup, and it would be a real shame for Dybala not to play a part in that. And with him there, I think their chances increase by 20%. Android rest, he's back here. Godzilla's in here. Naveen says that Dybala should have been rested in the first place. It's very hard to rest your best player on the team, and that wouldn't be something signature of Mourinho. He's always going to play his best 11, regardless of rotation, and we've seen that where he's less about getting fresh faces in and more about doing what has been working. So I think it's time to run through the Mourinho interview here, and maybe I'll leave that one up for now. So let's start this off. And I'm taking this straight from Football Italia, who had some interesting translations here. So he says, this was speaking to Dazn, D-A-Z-N. He says, I don't remember many games in my career with 11 against 10 where I wanted it to end as soon as possible. There was fatigue, yes, physical, and a little psychological too, as it's tough playing Thursday and then Sunday. And reminder, Roma goes to Spain to play Real Betis, who they just lost against at home, of course. And that's going to be a tough one, especially without Dybala. And, Real Betis is the runaway leader in Group C. Now, what would happen if Roma does even get that second spot is they would face somebody dropping down from the Champions League. And that is an obvious threat. Okay. Mourinho continues. He says, I watched Udinese Atalanta today. You can see very clearly they are teams who only play one game a week. However, that's not a justification. We started hungry, intensive, and moving the ball around quickly. Then it was tougher against 10 because they clammed up. Yes, but also tougher because we moved the ball badly. Clammed up. What an interesting translation. We moved the ball badly. I want to highlight that with a Sharpie, like the brightest Sharpie I could get right now. And that to me was like a signature of this game, just the transitions. And it was like they seemed lost many times as to where the ball was supposed to be. It was very confusing, I think, from me on the couch to watch. I watch a lot of soccer, a lot of football, a lot of calcio, and it just looked like an unorthodox game. And I think that has happened to Roma so much in the past where they go up a man. It seems contrary, but like what Mourinho is saying, that the team started to play differently and Roma had a hard time reacting to that. And he says, I get the feeling it often happens that when you are tired, you make things overcomplicated rather than keep it simple. Uh, I agree with him there. He says you need to move the ball around to create the spaces, but Belotti was the only one who had any real impetus with the ball at his feet. Impetus. Lecce waited for the final 10 minutes to risk everything for an equalizer. And actually, at that point, once Lecce did eventually pop up in the last 10 minutes and start to play, and rather than just hold on, I think that must have been their game plan. And Roma actually got a lot of goal scoring opportunities with Eldor. He had two, Tammy had one in the last like 5-7 minutes. Before I continue, I'm going to take a look at the comments. Mourinho says, I feel like the reason why the attack is struggling is because they complicate it too much. It's strange, Mourinho, because Mourinho said the same thing, that word complicating it. The reason why Smalling is scoring so much is because he just shoots and doesn't overcomplicate it. And we see Smalling 3 goals now off the set piece, off the corner kicks. He's been a monster. And he actually almost had a second goal today as well. I think that came like around the middle of the second half. And I'm going to continue here with some of Mourinho's comments. And he's going to get into Dybala in just a second. You had to move the ball around to create spaces, but Belotti was the only one. I thought Belotti's movement also was very good today. I thought, just aside from trying hard, that he was a really good focal point for the team. But I really honestly would have preferred to see this game go 11 versus 11. Mourinho, no, it's not yet. Hold on. It's true that we had chances to score, but also true that they could have equalized with a bit of luck. We didn't play well today, but we won. Obviously, I'd prefer to have the points and a good performance, but for now, the result will do. That's the end of that quote that you see there at the bottom. I prefer to have the points and a good performance. Okay, now we finally go on to Dybala. Got a new banner there. So La Joya seemed to be in tears as he sat on the bench. You can see him with his shirt off and he's sulking, and the look on his face after he limped off from the penalty kick was so concerning. And I know you must have had your head in your hands the way that I did. And Mo says, I say bad, but I think very, very bad. I'm not a doctor, but in my experience and speaking to Paolo, it's unlikely we'll see him this year. Is this a tactic by Mourinho so that when Dybala does pop up again, the other teams are like, oh, shoot, this guy's back? Maybe some head games there and taking the weight off of his player. But there have been no tests so far. I haven't gotten any news regarding that. And it's a strange one. I haven't ever seen a player hurt himself off a penalty kick like that. Maybe he stepped wrong. Maybe he felt a muscle pull. But I'm hoping that it's nothing back with his knee injuries that he had last year at Juventus. On to the scoring issues and scoring opportunities. He says, you can train to improve, and we do, but I think it's more psychological. For instance, the last chance that Tammy Abraham gets wrong, he remains practically off the pitch without coming back to help the team defend an important result. That is typical of someone who is desperate to score a goal. He's calling out Tammy there big time. That guy Tammy can't let up. When you are up a goal and you've just blown your chance, you have to get back. Everyone has to get back as quick as you can, like whatever it takes, gasping for air, whatever it is. Like he needs to get back there and bust his butt. He says that is typical of someone who is desperate to score a goal, and then says, I hear his comments, Tammy's comments, his negative thoughts. Obviously, it is worrying because we need goals to win games, but the strikers shouldn't worry this much. I am worried by too many touches controlling the ball, slowing it down, not finding the spaces. Too many touches, controlling the ball, slowing it down, not finding the spaces. I think this goes with the overcomplication. That's one way to sum all of that up right now. He says, sometimes when I watch the game, I feel maybe my Italian is horrible now because the players do the opposite of what I ask them to do. And then he goes on to this quote here, which I quite like. He says, when we lost Mkhitaryan and Veretout, Wijnaldum was meant to be the man to set the tempo in midfield. When we lost him too, we were missing someone performing that role. The other day I mentioned this, and this has been like, I really think haunting me when I watch them play, but the play in general. Like Pellegrini does a great job, I think, of seeing the field his vision. He can play a really deep ball into the final third. He can make simple passes into the in tight corners. He can be that player too. I think that's not his strong suit. Pellegrini to me is like an intermedio. He's an intermedio who a box to box, if you will, with a creative skill set on his belt, on his resume. When he gets put in front of goal, like we saw today, he's not a clinical player. I don't see him as like this player who has great scoring capabilities. Yes, he's good from the free kick, but I think he is much more of like a number eight. Yeah, like a number eight. I'm going to go with that right now. More so than like a number seven, which he sometimes occupies that space. And of course, not a number five or a six. Um, so, with that being said, that player like Mkhitaryan, forget Veretout for a second because he played sparingly last season, is sorely missed right now. And when I see Rodrigo De Paul sitting on the bench for Atletico Madrid and the issues he's having with Simeone, I'm like, you know what, bro? Like, I'll get a second job. I will contribute to your salary for Roma because that's the type of player that I really, really, really want to see come. But I read reports for Aouar from France as well, so that's an interesting one. I'm gonna go back to the comments right now. Okay, just looking through these. Um, that's Morin's comment on overcomplicating. And then Sulyan jumps in. What's up, Sufyan? Sorry. He says, I can't ask more of this team anymore. With Gini, Dybala, Salik, and Karsdorp out, we lost everything that made this a top four team. With European duties and a bad form of key players, it's difficult now. And it's a great point that Sufyan brings up here and putting this into context. So Wijnaldum, who was supposed to be that player that I was just ranting about, Dybala, Roma's best player on the pitch, Salik, who became the starting right back, and then Karsdorp, who's a rotational wing back at this point, all out. And and the best forward moving right back last year statistically was Karsdorp in all of Serie A. So these are big losses through numbers or just sheer their presence on the pitch. This is too much for a team, I think, to cope with and still be obliged to playing this much. And if they do continue to grind out results, pretty ugly, whatever they are, I think in context, it's more than we can ask for. However, it is up to Mourinho now to figure out a way to make the team and the players that we do have left to make them play as well as they can, because there is still quality on the bench. And I believe that he can figure it out. And he'll continue to do so. It's just going to take more hard work. I'm going to keep popping up comments here. Marco says, Roma started differently because we had one player more, but we are not used to dictating the play, but rather we sit and wait. This is Mourinho's signature. Naveen says, why doesn't Tammy take a penalty? I think it would boost his confidence. Man's trying desperate to get a goal. That's probably most likely because there's assigned penalty takers and Dybala is the set guy there. Marco says, Mourinho doesn't rotate, doesn't change tactics or players. Our game is slow and idealist. Mourinho will bury this team alive. Sufyan says, despite everything, we're second in XG. You know what? Let's pull up the stats as well here. Where are my stats? Bear with me. And there we go. And there I am. So it says still second in XG, second in big chances created, second in shots per game. Even in this game, our XG was 3.3, and our opponent's was not even 1. What do you think of this? I think that if you look at this purely from a statistical point of view, it shows that Roma is making their opportunities. However, the quality of the shooting has not been good. I saw quite a few shots today go well wide, well over, like just high and wide, not great shots in themselves. But the team will benefit, I think, from a change in midfield. Like whether it's addressing the problems that you have with Cristante, Pellegrini, and Matic right now, and just perfecting that balance, or it's a little bit more rest that they need, that once that is shored up, the defense is doing their job. They've been really good. But once you help them a little bit, that spine will add a bit more fluidity to the attack. It will add more, it'll almost look like rehearsed plays is what I'm trying to get at there. And Marco says, let's be positive. Sina says, do you think we will play 4-4-2 against Betis? No. Sina, I think that move will continue with the 3-4-2-1 until Roma gets the players that Mourinho wants for a 4-3-3 or 4-2-2 or a 4-2-3-1. Um, I haven't heard anything about Chelsea being interested in Pellegrini, but that is the captain, and he deserves to be respected. So I don't want to speculate about his future there. Sheeta says we need to keep our key players, and then of course, with that you start to build. And it's true with great teams; they have kept their key players for a very long time. Not very long, but of course, part of a cycle where you build these players together. They get used to each other. That's how you build chemistry. It's not just throwing a bunch of guys from here. This guy was good. Well, this guy, he works good there. So that needs to be, I think that needs to be respected, that about keeping players and building off of them. XG we see here, Roma 3.33. And I think a lot of that was boosted towards the end of the match where Eldor had a couple good ones. Big chances, Roma with 5. Big chances missed 4. And that number is where Roma really needs to improve, right? And it doesn't take a scientist or an analyst to tell you that. Scientist. Fouls committed, it's just about even there. Passes, Roma 476, which makes sense given the man down. Of course, that's accurate, but a lot of those are going to be horizontal. So let's move on to our next banner. Oh, I like these. You know that. This was the way that Roma started. And just to jog back to some initial conversations here, you see Zalewski step on. I thought he had a great game today. Let's get that comment out of here so we can. So there we go. Vina, of course, as an emergency left back there. He did okay. All right. But, Mourinho changed him at halftime, and that has to speak loudly. And Belotti, of course, gets the start. I think that he should probably continue to start because I don't see any problem with him. The caveat to that is if you don't get Abraham scoring, then when does he? But there's plenty of time to start Abraham, I think, against Betis and see if he can get something good going there. The Cristante Pellegrini partnership I've covered quite a bit here. Ibanez shows his growth yet again. Smalling throughout the 90 minutes is indispensable. You cannot say enough about Smaldini this season. He's been a pillar. I like that word. He's been a pillar in defense, but he really has. He's been a great guy. And he just seems humble, professional. And God forbid he goes down, but we do see the re-entrance of Kumbula, who comes on for Mancini late into the match. And Belotti is eventually subbed out for Eldor. And I haven't given up on Eldor just yet. I feel like he has a part to play in the future of this team. I just don't know how. And imagine if that guy starts scoring goals. Then you have 3 strikers who are somewhat level with each other. Eldor, Belotti, and Tammy. And I think that would be really interesting competition between the 3 of them. What's up, Christian? How are you, man? Nice to hear from you. Mourinho says the first half was this Roma in a nutshell. The first 20 minutes we were pressing them and constantly creating chances, but we didn't kill them and then got confident and managed to come back. So about that first 20 minutes, this is a good point I wish I had planned to bring up. I tweeted something along the lines of, this is the Roma that I wanted to see. And I like that they were pressing. They were forcing errors, looking to get the ball back. This was surprising. Compare this to the Inter match where Roma did win, but where that first half, Inter really took it to Roma. And I've wanted to see this so badly, is a Roma that doesn't respond, but one that initiates the play, one that goes out and just imposes their game. So I was happy to see that. And then that red card just messed that up. So I'm curious to see what Betis looks like. So I'm getting a weird comment here from Ishmael. Ishmael, can you comment on that? I haven't heard anything regarding this. I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not. Just gonna check real quick. No, and I think you're being funny. He's fine. Yeah. So Sina asks, who's going to be the second number 10 in the 3-4-2-1 against Betis? We don't have Dybala and Zaniolo. You think El Shaarawy will do? Why don't we have Zaniolo? Was he suspended off that match? He got the red card, didn't he? Yeah, that's a problem. El Shaarawy, yeah, for sure. And maybe you see Belotti with Tammy again, or do you go El Shaarawy, Tammy, Eldor? That would be interesting to see. But regardless, they need to create against Betis, and it was a shame that they lost that game. That should have ended in a draw. Betis is a pretty good side, though. They're well managed by Manuel Pellegrini, who's a bit of a journeyman coach, but journeyman of high quality. Speaking about Lecce today, I thought they were not the worst team in the world. This is a team which kept Napoli to a draw. They went down to the wire with Inter, only losing in the last second to a Dumfries goal. And they were tough. Strefezza, one of my favorite players in the league, constantly wants to get onto the end of the pass. And there, because he's this type of like energizer bunny, he scores that goal. That was a mess of a scramble there. Should have never happened. But I got to give them credit. Umtiti had a pretty decent game. So onto that, guys. Keep writing in the comments. Thank you for participating. Also, give this a like. Give it a like right now. Please take your mouse or hit your phone. Take your finger. Push like. I would appreciate that. Marin says he got pulled for. Oh, I didn't realize. Good shout there that was a head injury for Zaniolo, but I haven't heard anything. I've been checking. I've I've got a Zalewski interview coming in right now. I'm going to translate this. Excuse me if I say because I'm translating from Italian to English in my head. So Zalewski speaking to Dazin, he's asked, where do you play best? He says, thanks. At right, I play with my right foot best. It comes naturally to me to go to the bottom or to go like to the end of the pitch and to cross it in. At first, I was on the left, and on the left, I found myself well dribbling and entering and shooting, like getting into it and shooting. Then he's asked, how do you think this squad could get better? How could this team improve? He says, exactly. The discourse is similar to that, or the conversation is similar to that of Thursday in the match against Betis. We created a lot, and we didn't give in. We subiamo poco, like we let very little through. But the result is it's still wanting. We must suffer better, and the occasions the goal scoring opportunities we have to keep creating. Sai qualcosa in più sulle condizioni. Do you know anything more about the condition of Dybala? He says, I don't know. I saw him in pain when he exited, but nothing else. And cosa state facendo fatica? How are you doing with the fatigue in preparing in the match? Are you managing it well? Fino a poche partite fanno. He's saying in the warm-up, we're looking to get exactly, saying like from the very start, we're looking to get exactly on the game. We're looking to take it to the opponent. We must take our occasions better. We must make more of our scoring opportunities. So he understands what they need to do. The players, what I'm taking away from this is the players understand what's required of them, and like they're not ignorant. Whatever is being said on social media and the sentiment between fans right now, like the players know it too. They know that the XG. They go into the training room tomorrow morning or after, and they know exactly what the coach is telling, or the statistics are showing them. Like, guys, we are squandering opportunities. We have to keep up physically. We know this is a long, drawn-out season. Not drawn-out, but condensed season. Away from that, guys, I'm very much looking forward to November and the World Cup break. It is October 9th of October right now. Let's look at Roma's schedule. We know that we have Betis on Thursday. I believe the following match is Sampdoria, yes, Monday. So it gives us a 3-day break, a full 3-day break, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That'll be October 17th. That's 12:30 for me, 6:30 Italian time. And then the big one, October 23rd, Roma plays Napoli. That's a Sunday, 2:45, October 23rd. I got to make sure that I don't do anything crazy on that day because I'm gonna need to be free. Got a couple comments coming in. No, we didn't. Anyway, so let's check at the standings right now. We can see Napoli in first at 23, and then all the way down in fifth. But wait, only 19. So with 19, we see only 4 points separating first to fifth. And of course, Lazio does play tomorrow. So that could be from first to sixth, only 4 points separating them. Milan comes up with the win. Atalanta and Udinese drop points. So now Roma is just 2 points away from Atalanta. They did not deserve that loss. I'm still not over that one. And Roma's record at the Stadio Olimpico has been very good. So it's looking something like 14 or 15 with just one loss at the Stadio Olimpico. Very good stuff there. Milan continues to win, but just 1 point ahead of Roma. I don't expect Milan to continue to excel, but I do think they will get something like second place. Mourinho jumps in here and he says, while we have a ton of injuries that should give more opportunities to the Primavera players, that's something that I think we can look with a hopeful eye. We've addressed that Mourinho does not like to enter too many players in the rotation, but I agree with you. Like, where is Bove? I really want to see this guy get on the pitch. I'm going to put a new, hit the like button. There we go. I only asked this because I realized that the algorithm with YouTube really depends on likes and stuff like that. So I don't like to be annoying. I'm not like, oh, subscribe. I try not to, pester people. That's just to talk and have fun, right? But Bove, can this guy get a shot? Can Kamara get a starting role? I think he should. You have nothing to lose. What I'm afraid of is if they don't go with the most competitive starting 11, though, is what happens if you drop down to the conference. And my opinion, I guess, is radical in that you should just play the youth guys. And if the young guys tend to bow out early, then so be it. I don't know if it's of Roma's benefit to march on with the way that this season is with more European play. Like Mourinho said today, look at the way that Atalanta and Udinese play. They play 1 day a week. And look at the legs on these guys. Darboe is probably out until February, I would say the earliest. So you're looking like an 8-month recovery there for an ACL tear. So, yikes, right? Yeah, it's going tough. Throw back the stats there from today again if you want to take a look at that. I also thought that Spinazzola had a decent one today. Spina coming on, second. You can't burn this guy out. I think he's 30 years old, people, and he's just trying to hang in there. He's had, I think, a rough start. He would have wanted better. Maybe rough is too critical, but I think he would have wanted better. But I am happy to see this guy on the right getting his licks in and getting the start today. So, new comment coming in. Do you think we will survive until January 6th? I do. More so January 6th. I think it's more like survive until the 23rd. Get past Napoli. Try to scrape a result. Try to manage a draw here at the very least. Go for the win. Roma's at home. You got to show those guts when you're playing at the Stadio Olimpico. And Spalletti, right? But right now, Napoli's playing some great ball. Their midfield is the best in the league. Lobotka is doing an excellent job. Kvara is more or less like unplayable. I want to watch the quality of these goals that Napoli scored today because I know that deep into this match, they, at least from just reading, let's see what until the 76th. So Napoli does not take the lead here until the 76th against Cremonese, and that's really not good enough. Sorry for the echo there. I turned my computer volume on. What I'm looking at. And Napoli have some, with this renovation of this squad, you look at Kim, who's settling in nicely. Kvaraba, Simeone has been such a success story for them. I didn't really think that he was this type of goal scorer. I criticized him in my own mind quite a bit. I would say like before he went to Hellas Verona, and then I saw some incredible goals last season there. But now he's like hitting another gear. Like he's not even supposed to be the starting forward. But is it crazy to think that he could take Osimhen's place? I don't know, because Osimhen is injury prone, and their success rate is nothing like what we're seeing right now. So the first goal that Napoli scores today is a penalty kick. That's by, I believe, Politano scores that. Yeah, that's him, ex-Roma guy. And then Cremonese fights back, though. So you got to give him credit there. But just watching this, Kvara, man, he's so impressive. He's everywhere, isn't he? Um, who is this number 6 for Napoli? I think that is that Lobotka putting that one in. It's a fantastic header there. That with a left foot, just major cross against the entire pitch, and Simeone comes away with that. He gives a kiss to the camera. It's painful to watch. And then towards the end of the game, as I mentioned, Napoli gets 2 more with Kvara streaking down the left flank, and he puts that away. I'm sorry, actually, he plays that in to who's the shorter player here? Is that Simeone again? Simeone getting 2? No, it's Lozano getting the 3rd there. So you don't want Lozano to get on his horse and start doing well. So, but I'm hopeful, and I want to see them go out and show guts. Cena says, I think we can still beat Betis if Tammy and Belotti link up. Belotti is a great player. I agree. Belotti works off the ball, whereas Tammy does also, but not as much as Belotti. I don't think that's fair to say. So with the two of them together, they could be a devastating pairing, duo, if they figure it out. I think with a trequartista who had some good legs on him, they could be even more dangerous. Interesting here. Morin says Zalewski versus Kvara is going to be rough. I'm not really looking forward to that matchup. And Sufyan says only Roma game that has been outclassed was in Udine, and that was a very unlucky game. I agree there. And I think Udinese has surprised everybody in the league with that play. Sotil has them just, firing. Ishmael says, I feel for Mu, and the Vinaldum injury changed his whole plans. And it stinks. I rue on this like every day. Every other day I think of, what if Vinaldum was there? And then I look at his injury updates, and he wants to be there more so than anybody right now. What's up, man? How are you doing? And Sufyan says, I'm not sure if playing the young guys now is really needed. This team hasn't been great, but they are always competitive. If Tammy Belotti comes into form, dominoes might start falling. Agreed. Ishmael says, if we lose Spina or Zalewski, we are in serious crisis. That can't happen. I don't even know what they would do if that came to be. I think actually you'd have to move Ibanez out, and then what could you do as a right back? Well, this is extreme if you lost both, but you would have to make probably Ibanez a left center back, perhaps with the two of Smalling and Mancini as the center backs, and right back you might have to improvise or get somebody from the Primavera to slot in there. So, but I don't want to think about that stuff. Come on, don't bring me down right now. Marco, interesting comment here. Says, I think Zalewski can play Dybala's role, like really easy. And Mourinho comments, Udine and Atalanta, and again, he's looking for excuses. So Zalewski can play Dybala's role. I think there's something to be said there. I would like to see that. Zalewski does have those attacking talents, doesn't he? And if you remember from the Primavera, he was a purely attacking player. I think he just played on the wing. I don't remember him playing outside back. So, Espina or Zalewski are injured, then Mancini or Ibanez right back, and Vigna left back. Yeah, that's a good shout there, Morin. Maybe he'd call it Misori. I haven't seen Misori. Interesting. I always like to watch these guys from the Primavera. Anyway, Abdul Majid says Roma very lucky today. So back to this one. If Spina or Zalewski are injured, yeah, I guess that's probably most likely what would happen. Guys, I'm going to ramble on a little bit more about the 39-minute mark. I'll keep this under 45. Let me know what you think. If you're new coming into this chat, please hit the like button. Let me throw that comment back up there. Where's my banner? Yeah, the like button. Thanks. Let's get this algorithm. Let's get this audience growing. And thanks again, guys. So a few more minutes. If keep the comments coming in. I'm going to check the news right now and see if anything else has popped up. Nothing crazy. Nothing with Zaniolo. So nothing to worry about there. Oh, Smalling's got some comments coming in now. This was to DAZN. I wish I could get this in English. Let's see if Football Italia has already I might just see if Football Italia has this real quick. No, nothing. But let's see if I can use my translate button so I don't have to stutter. Yeah, there we go. So Smalling to Dazen right now. A game that Roma was unable to close until the end, and he says we are happy for the victory, but no, we know we can play better. The 3 points that's what's most important today. He's asked, can Roma become more concrete? Let's get what do we got? Do I have nothing for Smalling here? I'm gonna have to get on that. Sorry, guys. I do need something for Smalling, but let's get that back up. Um, can Roma be more concrete? He said we created many chances and the goals will come. Where do Roma need to improve? He's asked. We all have to work. Now we have time to recover and we have to work. This next part is to Roma TV. He says, we're very happy for the victory. Today that was 3 important points and we know we can play much better and score more goals. Today we got the 3 points. He's asked, Roma always remain at the top of the standings. Remain at the top of I'm going to have to retranslate that. Now we've recovered, and on Thursday there will be another match in which we need all the players. Last question here. You've held a high standard all season. He says, I'm very happy and satisfied with every match. I have to continue like this. So, glad we got that one in there. I'm going to check. Guys, thanks for joining in. As you know, subscribe and all that good stuff. We've got Real Betis. Aim to have a preview of that. A short one, probably pre-recorded, not a live. And then Thursday, that game's on Thursday, I will have another post-match just like this. So, and we'll see where Roma stand after that, because this could really set the tone. But you know that there's a lot of work to be done against Ludogorets and against HJK as well, the only team that Roma has beaten so far in the Europa League in that Group C. And like I said, the second place will play against Champions League teams. So a little recap of today. We went through the starting lineup. We see Zalewski pop in and Viña get a rare start. Spinazzola comes on for him. Smalling, man of the match. Dybala goes out with an injury, and Mourinho is not optimistic about it. We see Belotti get the start, which I was happy about. And now the question becomes, who fills in for Dybala? Who is the guy that will put Roma on his shoulders and lead this team to continued success? Roma approaches a heavy rest of October against Napoli later, October 23rd, and they're going to have an answer for the high-quality team that Spalletti has, for the well-managed, organized, drilled down, high-flying Napoli. You can use a lot of good adjectives for them right now. Guys, Zalewski. I hope so, Marco. Thanks, guys. Good luck in school, man. Good luck. Thanks. Talk later. Ciao. Forza Roma.